Hello. Damn it. Having all sorts of problems today.
I'm sorry.
Okay. VGRT Gaming Podcast, episode 7. The VGRT Gaming Podcast, episode 747, recorded on March 12th, 2025.
Hello and welcome to the 747th edition of the TD Gaming Podcast, the 580th episode of Video Game Roundtable. I'm TJ Denzer.
I am Scott Dirk.
I am Jonah Falcon.
The VGRT Gaming Podcast focuses on game news from around the industry and a gaming flashback.
Right. So, TJ, what have you been playing?
I started Monster Hunter Wilds and Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 at the same time. I don't know how I'm going to get through both of them because they're both like 100-hour long games, but I'm enjoying both. Kingdom Come is probably the prettiest open world I've seen in a while. That game is like its version of the European countryside is very, very pretty. It's also absurdly hard at the beginning. That game is like as hard as being a peasant in medieval wherever.
I call it artificial difficulty.
And like I don't know, because like it's hard to get money at first. You're pretty weak at first. You just I got my ass kicked by just about everything I tried to fight right away. And some people won't even let you stay at their inn if you have crappy clothes on, because they'll think you're a vagabond. So that's interesting. But it's like once you get your feet under you and get some good weapons and armor on you, it gets so much easier. But that first couple hours like made me think of Fallout 2 and how ridiculously hard it was to get out of that first temple.
And Monster Hunter Wilds?
Yeah, Monster Hunter Wilds is Monster Hunter. It's more Monster Hunter. It's hard to say much more than that. Like, I don't know. I feel like there are little changes here and there, but the point of more Monster Hunter is just to make it prettier and put more monsters in. Other than that, like, it's the same old as far as I'm concerned, which is not a bad thing. I love the game, and I love the franchise. It's still annoying to get through some of those menus, and it's still annoying to do multiplayer sometimes. You can't do multiplayer in the main story without like completing the missions. You have to like go back to them later on, and then you can do multiplayer, or you can call in like SOS flares after you already start fighting a monster.
Okay.
Either way, I think that as much as they keep things the same, they also keep kind of the junky parts of the franchise the same. Either way, still fun. I'm enjoying myself in both.
Okay. How about you, Scott? What have you been playing?
I've been playing the remasters of Suikoden.
Okay.
Yeah, the backgrounds have all been updated and the portraits are new, been redone. And I think a few like sound effects or whatever have been changed, and a little bit of the text is different, but overall the game is just like I remembered, playing. And I've been playing it on Steam and just getting different achievements for it and just enjoying the atmosphere of it on my computer.
What have I been playing? I really haven't been playing anything new. I decided to play. I decided to play Foundation on easy just to see how far I could get. And on easy it's a lot. Well, obviously easier. Holy crap! Oh no, that's Dorfromantic. From what I thought, I unlocked 77% of the achievements on Foundation. I have not. I unlocked 17%. I actually had the screen open to Dorfromantic. I haven't played that game according to things since October 2024, so I should get back into it. Otherwise, I haven't played anything new. There's some stuff coming out. I think I'm gonna pick up Two Point Museum soon because but I'm still waiting to see if there's a PC, PC Windows version. It hasn't come out yet. And I'd rather play it on PC, so I'm holding out hope for the Windows version of Two Point Museum. This week we actually have a gaming history, and this is probably going to make you feel old. The game that is 10 years old there, TJ. So why don't you go ahead and tell us about today's gaming flashback?
All right. This week we've got Bloodborne, which was made in 2015. It's an action role-playing game developed by From Software and published by Sony Computer Entertainment for the PS4. The game follows a hunter through the decrepit Gothic Victorian-era inspired city of Yharnam, whose inhabitants are inflicted with a bloodborne disease that transforms residents into horrific beasts. Attempting to find the source of the plague, the player's character unravels the city's mysteries while fighting beasts and cosmic beings. Bloodborne is played from a third-person perspective. Players control a customizable protagonist, and the gameplay is focused on strategic weapons-based combat and exploration. Players battle varied enemies while using items such as trick weapons and firearms, exploring different locations, interacting with non-player characters, and unraveling the city's mysteries. Bloodborne began development in 2012 under the working title of Project Beast. Bearing many similarities to From Software's Dark Souls series, Bloodborne was inspired by the literary works of authors H.P. Lovecraft and Bram Stoker, as well as the architectural design of real-world locations in countries such as Romania and the Czech Republic.
He called something Project Beast, I think. Rise from your grave. Yeah, there's two things about Bloodborne people always ask. When is Bloodborne 2? When is it coming to PC? Apparently neither.
Or when is it going to get a 60 frame per second upgrade on like PS5 and Xbox Series X?
I know that people think that this is From Software's best Souls-like.
A lot of people do. It's very it has a uniqueness from a lot of the other games that, like, to the point where it became the other half of what we call Soulsborne, because you don't block. You don't have like a shield in this game the way that you can get your hands on in Dark Souls or Elden Ring. Instead, you have a firearm in your offhand, and the way in which you parry enemies is to fire into their face at like the moment before they would hit you with a big attack. And it's very, very high risk, very, very high reward system. And it ends up being like that much more intense, I think, when you don't have something like a shield to keep you from getting damaged. I know a lot of people also just dig the steampunk Victorian style. Like, there's a little bit of that in the Dark Souls and Elden Ring games, but like those are largely fantasy fiction, whereas like this is like a straight up Victorian, you know.
Yeah, this is the game that a lot of people wanted The Order 1886 to be.
Mm-hmm. And it ends up going on such a wild trip because, like it says there in the description, you end up running into like cosmic Cthulhu beings, like all throughout the game, and some of them are just the creepiest monsters of any of them. I'm sure that a lot of people have like their moment if they played through Bloodborne when they first ran into these creatures that have like giant brains, and if they see you, they cause you to go insane, and then you explode with blood once a meter fills up. Or they can get a hold of you in a grapple attack and kill you instantly that way. Either way, they're the worst. And I remember like just there's so many stories of people having to deal with those things and so many other things in this game that was just ridiculous. I'm among those that would love to see this game get either a remaster or a remake, because it's been a long time and this game is still locked at 30 frames per second and the graphics, they still look pretty dang good, but they could look better.
Is there an automatic upgrade when you put it into a PS5 like it does, you know, like some games on the Xbox actually get an automatic frame rate boost and resolution just from AI alone?
You can play these games on Xbox Series X and PS5, but it's not upgraded the way that like other games have had like console version remasters.
Okay. So, yeah, so like I said, it's the one game that everybody says, when's it coming to PC? Apparently it's never coming to PC. At least, you know, I think it sold something like 9 million by 2022, so it's one of the best-selling Souls-likes. Anyways, we're going to move on to quick news. Defiance is coming back 4 years after the servers were shut down. And I love a Reddit comment about this. They said, getting a Defiance Revival before GTA 6 was not on my bingo card this year. I remember playing this for a few months, and it was the first action MMO, not a massively multiplayer action game, but an actual MMO that had action in it that actually worked. Like you swing, you attack, that sort of stuff. It was very colorful. It's a lot of MMOs that are set in with a science fiction thing are usually dark and gritty. This one was full of reds and purples and pinks and yellows. I never watched the TV show because the entire gimmick was that the MMO and the TV show would interact somehow. What happens in the TV show will happen in the MMO. If things happen in the MMO, it might actually affect the plot of the TV show, but that never happened.
How fast is this game?
What do you mean?
I mean, like, how fast does it play? Is it clunky like Gears of War?
No, it's like it's like jetpacks and stuff like that. You know? And the thing is,
I never played this one. I don't think I even heard. I think I remember hearing about an MMO that was tied to a TV show. But
it also was a console MMO. So
yeah, I never had a chance to play this one.
Yeah, and there is a sizable fan base that that exploded with cheers when this news was released. And it's always nice to have an MMO that was canceled to come back again. It rarely happens. It happened with City of Heroes. But yeah, I mean, Defiance is unique if you ever play it. It's sort of like, am I playing an MMO? Because this is more like Dark Void.
Looks interesting.
Yeah. BlizzCon 2025 isn't happening for the second year in a row. It's kind of weird because they had to cancel it for the pandemic, but it says it'll return in 2026. Meaningfully, an iconic celebration will happen in September 12th and 13th in 2026. They're offering a lot of big things, a lot of the usual things, including the Dark Moon Festival. I know that when you go to BlizzCon, you get a game. You get a new game too. Usually it's an expansion of the newest World of Warcraft thing, but sometimes you get something major. You always get something major. Usually it's a Warcraft expansion, but sometimes it's an actual game. Have you ever gone to BlizzCon?
I haven't, but I hear all the time about like the goodie bag where like they do like the BlizzCon exclusive skins for or mounts in World of Warcraft and which one was it? Like when Heroes of the Storm was around, they used to have BlizzCon specific skins or hero unlocks. And then with Overwatch, they used to have BlizzCon specific skins and colors as well, like in spray paints and stuff like that.
I think there's going to be any Overwatch 2 things.
Yeah.
After Overwatch 2 doesn't exist, I know.
I just think like it's always been cool to see what comes out of BlizzCon as far as like the goodies that people get from going there. Although it's been a while, like I feel like since the Activision Blizzard merger.
Well, yeah, the thing is that last year there wasn't one. The last one was in 2023. 2024, I think, was the merger, and they were doing, there was some sort of thing going on. What's going to be interesting is, you know what? You know what happened twice and never happened again, which was really, really popular? Call of Duty convention. Remember that? And I wonder when they're going to have a Call of Duty convention again.
It was the XP event, right?
Something like that.
Call of Duty XP.
Yeah. People loved it. They had a ball at it, but apparently it was very expensive to hold. So
it's strange too, because like Quake doesn't even have like a good new game anymore, but QuakeCon still happens every year.
Yeah, it's id Software, Yeah, it is id. So you know something about this. Moon Studios goes full indie and buys No Rest for the Wicked's publishing rights from Take-Two. It was originally going to be published under a private division before Take-Two sold off the indie-focused publishing arm. So you wrote about this, I know.
Yeah. So, yeah, they, if anyone remembers, earlier this year, Take-Two Interactive, out of nowhere, just announced that they were selling off Private Division and everything that Private Division was working on to an undisclosed buyer.
They're becoming the Grand Theft Auto NBA 2K company.
and they sold off almost everything. Apparently, they held on to this thing, Moon Studios, and No Rest for the Wicked, or at least the publishing rights for No Rest for the Wicked. At the time, they said they still wanted to support the game, but apparently, Moon Studios just decided, no, we'll go it on our own from here on out. One of those glaring things that stands out in their explanation of this is that when the Take-Two Interactive sale of Private Division happened, it was unexpected for them. They had no idea it was coming. And what a thing to find out, like, in real time as it's happening, as a studio that's being published by this group that's being sold off.
By the way, for those who don't know who Moon Studios are, they're the ones behind the Ori games.
Yeah.
Ori and the Blind Forest and Ori and... I forgot the other one.
And their new one is like an action... Ori and the Blind Forest and Ori... Oh, God. I can't remember. Anyways, the new thing that they're working on, No Rest for the Wicked, it went into early access for a bit while they were under Private Division, and they had like
Ori and the Will of the Wisps.
Yeah. And they had playtesting, and it's like it's apparently like sort of a oh my gosh, what's the word for when you're looking down on an RPG, but it's like at an angle?
Oh, bird's eye view. Or isometric.
Isometric. It looks like an isometric action hack and slash. But it also looks pretty cool. Like, it looks very, very different from Ori. Either way, they bought their rights back to their own game, and now they're going to publish it themselves. So, hope it works out for them, because that's got to be a kind of scary leap to go from having a publisher to just
I have a
forging out on
feeling
your
it's
own.
going to be on Game Pass, because Microsoft may say, here's some money. Let's have it on Game Pass.
Maybe, but for right now, they're taking a leap into just completely indie again.
No, I mean, but here's the thing. Well, Microsoft does that with indie people. It's still going to be multi-platform, but Microsoft's going to say, here, have some money so we can put it on Game Pass.
Sure.
Which they would probably want, because they would want the exposure. Anyways, Final Fantasy 16 PC version removes Denuvo Anti-tamper DRM. It's been taken out in the recent update, and I think it's because no one's playing it, so no one cares.
I don't know.
The PC version of Final Fantasy 16 bombed badly, which is why Square got hit so hard.
They still have Denuvo on Final Fantasy 15, which is kind of weird.
Well, 15 people actually play.
I've never seen the sales figures on Final Fantasy 16.
Well, we all know that Final Fantasy 7 and 16 underperformed big time because they had the worst sales sales quarter, because they got much less than they were expecting.
I don't know if that's a reason to take out anti-piracy software, though.
Oh, there's always a reason to take out anti-piracy software. I don't mind.
I mean, besides that, but like, I wonder what was the spurring thing.
Did Good Old Games sell Final Fantasy 16? I wonder,
No.
because the thing about Good Old Games is that none of their games have piracy. None of them have DRM on them. So I'm wondering, if they'd released it on Good Old Games, maybe they might have gotten more sales. So yeah. We're going to move on to the Navigator Awards. Now, you may not know these people, but they do Game Awards every year. I actually help out with the nominations because they ask. And their awards are so much better than the other awards. From pure wins, just wins, there was a tie. Metaphor Fantasio got 6 wins. Indiana Jones and the Great Circle got 6 wins. Astrobot got 5. Black Myth Wukong got 4. Senua Saga Hellblade 2 got 3. Helldivers 2 got 3. Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth got 2. And Alien Rogue Incursion got 2. What's interesting is they list Sony and Sega having tied with 8, but then you have Bethesda and Microsoft having 6 and 5. I'm thinking, wait a minute, aren't those the same company?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm really surprised to hear that that Indiana Jones and the Great Circle got got tied for most wins. I think it's
Well-
great. I think it's a great game, but I don't know if it's the best of the best.
Well, here's the thing. Here, let me give you the complete list of winners, okay?
Okay.
The winner for Best Artistic Animation was Harold Halibut, a game we talked about last year, you know, and I think went under the radar for a lot of people, you know. One of the nominees was The Plucky Squire, and that's a game that I think also went under the radar. I'm surprised it didn't get a lot more awards elsewhere, right? Technical animation was Black Myth Wukong, which beat out Helldivers, Indica, Senua Saga, and Warhammer 40,000 Space Marine 2. Art direction contemporary was Helldivers 2. Art direction fantasy was, of course, Metaphor Rifantasio. By the way, in that, I don't know why Star Wars Outlaws got nominated for fantasy. I guess you might consider Star Wars space fantasy, but still, it's kind of an odd look. Although, actually, Warhammer 40,000 Space Marine 2 got it. Indiana Jones and the Great Circle won Best Art Direction Period Influence. And one of the nominees was News Tower, which is a game I've been championing, even though it's still in early access. Have you played News Tower? Have you seen anything about it?
News Tower?
Yeah.
I've seen that lurking around on Steam. I haven't dipped into it.
It is really good. And it's still in early access, which amazes me. Also getting that nomination was Elden Ring, Shadow of Erdtree, Harold Halibut, and Stellar Blade, which I know a lot of people like. I haven't seen it yet. I haven't played it yet. Have you? You probably know Stellar Blade, right?
Yes.
Camera direction in the game engine, Astrobot. Character design, Black Myth Wukong. A control design, 2D or limited 3D VR, and that's The Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom. I have not heard that game. I'm pretty sure you guys have. Is that a handheld?
Which one?
Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom.
Oh yeah, that's on the Nintendo Switch.
Yeah,
Okay.
It's a brand new game. It's not a remake.
it came out in 2024.
The Plucky Squire got a nomination as well for that. Control design, 3D, Astrobot, over Black Myth, Helldivers, Metaphor, and Senua Saga. Control precision, Astrobot, over Black Myth, Call of Duty Black Ops 6, Legend of Zelda, and Tekken 8. Costume design, Metaphor Rifantasio. Direction in game cinema, Like a Dragon, Infinite Wealth. Direction in virtual reality, Alien Rogue Incursion. And by the way, this is the VR game that won 2 awards, so have you played it?
Alien Rogue Incursion? No, I haven't.
It's a VR alien game.
I know.
So people should be playing that. I mean, that must be terrifying. Best engineering went to Nintendo World Championships NES edition.
Seeing who made Rogue Incursion, because I don't think it was Creative Assembly. It was Servios. I don't know who that is. I don't know. Creative Assembly were the ones who made Alien Isolation. If it was Creative Assembly working on an Alien game, I would be head perked all over that. But
yeah, so gameplay design franchise was Indiana Jones and the Great Circle, which won over Call of Duty Black Ops 6, Dragon Age, Legend of Zelda, and Like a Dragon, Infinite Wealth. Gameplay design, new IP. Here is one of the surprises that I saw. Balatro did not win. Metaphor de Rifantasio won. Although if I was to vote, I would have went with the Plucky Squire. You have to play the Plucky Squire. It's charming beyond belief.
it did look visually like striking all around from top to bottom.
Yeah. Game of the Year went to Metaphor. The nominees were Black Myth, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, which I question, Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom, and Warhammer 40,000 Space Marine 2. So the nominees for Best Game of the Year are kind of different with Navigator. But I like it that way. Best classic revival game, in other words, a remaster, Silent Hill 2 won. Disney's Epic Mickey, Luigi's Mansion, Paper Mario, The 1,000-Year Door, and Riven all got nominated. I didn't even know that the Thousand Year Door was remastered. That's news to me, and that's the best of the Paper Marios.
Yes, that one got a nice cleanup last year.
So game best franchise action game, Senua Saga won over Black Ops 6, Helldivers, Stalker 2, and Space Marine 2. Game franchise adventure won was Indiana Jones, but the other two nominees were Star Wars Outlaws and Tintin Reporter. So I don't know how much competition it had there. Franchise family game Astrobot won over Legend of Zelda Nintendo World Championships, Princess Peach Showtime, and Super Mario Party Jamboree. So check it out. One Sony game won over 4 Nintendo games.
That's impressive.
Franchise role-playing Final Fantasy VII Rebirth was the winner over Dragon Age 2, Dragon Age the Veilguard, Dragon's Dogma 2, Shadow of the Erdtree, and Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth. Black Wukong won Best Original Action. Original Adventure was Death Game Hotel. I have no idea what game that was. But Still Wakes the Deep was nominated. And that is one game that was criminally overlooked this in 2024. Have you played Still Wakes the Deep? It is one of the scariest games you'll play, which isn't that much of a surprise since the guys who made it also did Amnesia franchise, a thing for pigs. Best original family game was The Plucky Squire over Harold Halibut and All You Need Is Help. And by the way, All You Need Is Help is bad. It was bad. Best original role-playing game was Metaphor over Fantasia over Unicorn Overlord, Sandland, and Banishers: The Ghosts of New Eden. So here's your arena. Best fighting game. The nominees who did not win were Dragon Ball Sparkling Zero, Underdogs, Undisputed, and WWE 2K24. I'm pretty sure you can guess what won.
I mean, if it wasn't Tekken 8, they did it wrong.
It was Tekken 8. Balatro won Best Puzzle Game. F1 24 won Best Racing Game. Best Rhythm Game was Maestro. Best Simulation. Oh, wait a minute. Hi-Fi Rush came out 2023, right? Okay. Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024 won Best Game Simulation over News Tower and Expeditions, a Mud Runner game. I might have given it to News Tower over Flight Sim because Flight Sim was kind of janky when it first came out. Now, let me ask you a question. Game Special Class. Let me ask you if you've heard of any of these games. I only know one of them, and it didn't win. 1000X Resist, Caves of Q'd, DOS Steve Pardo, Infinity Nikki was the winner, and Squirrel with a Gun. The only one I know is Squirrel with a Gun. Have you heard of Infinity? It sounds familiar.
I have heard of Infinity Nikki. I don't. I want to say it's a waifu collector type game, but I'm not 100% certain on that. I want to say
sounds like it might be one.
It sounds. I'm pretty certain.
Oh no, it's not.
Like Genshin Impact.
It's a cozy open world game.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's a free to play action adventure game with dress up elements. So maybe it's a waifu game.
It is made by whomst?
It's a Chinese game. Paper Games.
Paper Games. I don't know them. I remember this game got a lot of like they were really pushing this is the best cozy game that you'll ever see.
Yeah, it came out late in the year too. It came out on December 5th, 2024.
It's a cozy game inspired by Genshin Impact.
But you can also dress her up.
They spin it.
So, it's a dress up game.
That's why I remembered hearing about
one of those
Genshin Impact on this.
College Football 25 won Best Sports Game, which is an absolute travesty because it was bad. The only nominees it had was MLB The Show 24 and NBA 2K25. I included Out of the Park Baseball 25, and they didn't use it. Best Strategy Game was Eighth Age of Mythology Retold, followed by Frostpunk 2 and Tactical Breach Wizards. Astrobot won Best Technical Graphics over Black Ops 6 and Helldivers. Senua Saga won Best Lighting and Texturing, although and Scott will know this, I thought the lighting in Indiana Jones was much better than anything that was out there.
It was good lighting. You could see all the good details.
Yeah, and when you're in the forest in the very, very beginning, when you're doing the Raiders of the Lost Ark thing, it's like the lights coming through the leaves.
I like the crypts and when they have light coming in from up above.
Yeah. Indiana Jones and the Great Circle won Best Dramatic Score Franchise, and the funny thing is that you may not notice it, but most of the game, not the Raiders part, but most of the game has an original score that sounds like John Williams, but isn't.
Yeah.
They did a good job of mimicking what an Indiana Jones score sounds like without actually having an original, a recycled Indiana Jones score. Although I will say Dragon Age: The Veilguard had an excellent score. It was excellent. Best Dramatic Score for new IP was, of course, Metaphor Fantasio. Original Light Mix score was Princess Peach Showtime. And original Light Mix score new IP was Rise of the Golden Idol. Although, I'm going to say something. News Tower rivals Cuphead for its music, for its period music.
Wow.
Yeah. Kazuhiro Nakaya won Best Lead Comedy Performance as Ichiban. And Helldivers 2, Craig Lee Thomas as Super Earth Spokesman won for Supporting Comedy. Now, guess who won Best Performance in a Drama, Lead Performance? You only get one guess. There was only one nominee, really.
Lead Performance in a Drama.
Come on, there was only one. It's Troy Baker. Troy Baker.
Oh.
As Indiana Jones. There was only one.
I was going to guess the gal that played Senua.
No, and for supporting, two of the nominees were from Indiana Jones. They both, one of them won, but the one that won wasn't when Alessandra Mastronardi won as Gina, Indiana's sidekick, and I thought it was going to be Emmerich Voss because Emmerich Voss makes that game. Have you met up with Emmerich Voss yet? Either?
Yeah. Oh.
He is fantastic.
Yeah, he's a great villain. He's the most despicable kind of villain. He's the one who's certain that he's right, no matter what.
He's a mashup of Belloc and Toad.
They did a great job with him, and the guy who voices him does a great job of delivering on that snide, self-important shitbag type character.
And even when he's speaking in German, you can still feel it.
Yeah, you can feel like there's venom in that voice at all times.
And also what's funny is that he talks about manipulating underlings, by basically negging them. But then again, it's ironic because he's constantly trying to prove himself to Indiana. And it's such a good voice performance that you can tell that Indiana and him knew each other way before the Nazis existed, and they were rivals then. So he's always been trying to measure up to Indiana, and he always feels like he's failing.
Mm-hmm.
Star Wars Outlaws won Best Sound Editing. Best Sound Effects went to Helldivers 2. Best Sound Mixing in Virtual Reality went to Alien Rogue Incursion. And like I said, that has to be terrifying. Best Use of Sound went to Black Ops 6. New IP, it was Still Wakes the Deep, so at least it got some recognition. Like I said, if you haven't played Still Wakes the Deep, you have to play it. It is amazing. Writing in a comedy was Thank Goodness You're Here, and writing in a drama was Senua Saga Hellblade 2, which is funny because a lot of people shit on that game for its writing. Because they said, no, this is dark and depressing. No, I mean, at least in the first game, it wasn't that. She's insane, and it's a realistic portrayal. What did you expect?
Oh, no, that game is very intense. The first one is, too. I don't know what people would say, why anyone would say the first one wasn't intense.
I don't know. Anyway, those are the nominees. So you could, I don't know why. I mean, I was part of the nomination process, so I guess I had to speak. Also, this episode is running short, so I guess I had to pad it out a bit. Let's talk about the Humble Games Showcase. What do you want to talk about first?
Uh,
I'll talk about Billy Bust Up first. My developer, Giddy Goat Games. Someone was really enjoyed Cuphead, huh? Because watching the trailer, that's all I can think of was that this is like a more modern version of Cuphead.
Yeah. Hold on. Let me pull this up.
How about you? Okay. Scott, why didn't you just talk about Threads of Time endlessly now? Because I know that's your shit. Scott? Scott? Scott's gone. I don't know where he went. Or maybe he's muted. And
Billy Bust Up's got a very cartoony, like Saturday morning cartoon vibe to
but
it.
it's the music that I'm talking about. The music and the action. Because you know that half of Cuphead is the music in that game.
Right, but like I like the visual style here too. It reminds me of like some recent indie
80s,
animation I've
yeah,
seen.
80. Oh, I was thinking 80s cartoons.
There's some good indie animation that's been coming out recently that this reminds me of that vibe. It's nice. I like it.
So Threads of Time. Go ahead. Okay, so Threads of Time couldn't be any more inspired than Chrono Trigger than anything else. That game just wants to be Chrono Trigger. Scott, did you say something? I could have sworn you just said something. How about you, T? What do you think of Threads of Time?
I'm having a look at it right now. I didn't see much of these games, so yes, that is very
It's Chrono
much.
Trigger.
That's a very big Chrono Trigger vibe. Let me see what the combat looks like. Do they show any of it? Ooh, yeah. Threads of Time looks got a Chrono Trigger look, but I'm also seeing the way that these characters like do attacks in battle. It reminds me of Saga Frontier, like the first Saga Frontier. Yeah. And that's a vibe that is kind of unique. If you've never played the first Saga Frontier, that game is like, some people consider it to be baby's first RPG, but I think it's still pretty dang fun and it's very visually striking.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what I dig about the battle system here, where it kind of puts the camera behind the characters and like rotates around them dynamically as they do attacks.
For Wild Blue, we only got a teaser, but he just had it in the middle of a blue sky saying, "Do it, barrel roll." So it's by Giles Goddard and Chewy Labs. And one of the games that he worked on was Star Fox. He also worked on Stunt Race FX and 1080 snowboarding.
That's a lot of good stuff.
Yeah. So whatever it is, it's going to be probably a rail shooter.
Looks that way. I'm trying to get a look at if he showed
There's no gameplay. All you do is hear him say, "Do a barrel roll" while in a blue sky.
I want to know more.
It's one big old teaser. Well, I don't know when it's coming out. That's the problem. Monaco 2 was shown off. It's going to be on Xbox Series XS, PlayStation 5, and PC. And there's a demo already on Steam. And I own Monaco, but I've never played it. It's weird. It's a heist game, for those you don't know.
I thought I remembered it being a heist game.
Yeah.
I see Bossa Studios on here, Lost Skies.
Yes, they're Lost Skies. And it's basically everybody who did World Adrift are excited because this is a spiritual successor. So yeah, you could create your own your ships, and it's basically a survival game. But there are separate islands that you can go between with grapple hooks and make your own airships and stuff like that.
Those islands are kind of beautiful.
Yeah, like I said, it's a spiritual sequel to Worlds Adrift, and a lot of Worlds Adrift fans are really excited over it.
Man, like, okay, there's a screenshot of like 4 people jumping between.
It goes up to 6 players, yeah.
Jumping, floating between islands on paragliders, and like I like the look of this game for the most part, but that one little scene that one screenshot right there could not be more. Do you like Tears of the Kingdom? Come look at our game. If
Well,
it tried.
Yeah. The entire point is that there are little island, little sky islands, and you have to go between them, and that's how you go between them with these,
I'm not gonna
by
rip on
making
it
your
too
own
much.
ships
I think
and making grapple hooks.
Yeah, that stuff sounds cool. Like making an airship sounds awesome. And some of these islands look really beautiful. I just couldn't help but laugh a little bit at that one screenshot because it's very Tears of the Kingdom coded.
Yeah. Anyways, we're going to move on to the next item. Take it away, TJ.
All right. Killing Floor 3 has been delayed to later in 2025 from Shack News. Tripwire Interactive has decided to delay Killing Floor 3 till later in 2025. The delay comes out of feedback to the recent closed beta, in which players were allowed to give an early version of the game a go. That beta proved to be disappointing to many, and Tripwire will be taking the criticisms of the community to implement key fixes for the version 1.0 release of the game. Tripwire Interactive shared the details of Killing Floor 3's delay in a statement on the game's social media. According to the press release, Tripwire Interactive will be pushing Killing Floor 3 back to address common criticisms of the game, including performance and stability, UI and UX, lighting, and weapon feel. The team also confirmed that players will be able to pick a perk and character independent of each other in a post-launch update. I have seen so much division on the reaction to this closed beta because I played it. I enjoyed it. I thought it was cool. I thought it was more Killing Floor. I thought the weapons felt fun, and I thought the levels themselves were pretty dang awesome with the new jumping, like mantling and power sliding. Apparently, I'm like the Killing Floor community is hugely divided on this because a lot of people are saying like the game looks like shit. It looks like it doesn't look like Killing Floor anymore. And then there's a whole bunch of people that are like me. There's like, what are people talking about? What do you hate about this so much? Why does it make you so mad? There's one thing that I agree with people on is that you shouldn't be forced to play a single character model based on the class you choose. We should be able to play like. If I want to play Mr. Foster as like a firebug, I should be able to play Mr. Foster as a firebug. That's always the way it's been in Killing Floor. That's always the way it should be. I would like that change to happen where I can pick my perk like regardless of the character that I want to play.
The reasoning behind it, I think, was that last week I talked about the silhouette, right? So the thing is that in a game that you might want to be able to know exactly what they do just by seeing their silhouette. Mm-hmm. They may have wanted to lock certain abilities to players so that you know that this character does this character does that. You know, on the other hand, you know, you can have players who played your previous Killing Floor and say that's not the way it was then. So they'll just probably have to figure out a way to communicate. If your character's a firebug, maybe there's going to be a red glow to him, say, you know, something like that.
Yeah. I can see that. Like, at the same time, like, you can't, like, give the players a feature and then take that feature away, especially when it's something that they enjoy. I know I enjoyed mixing and matching my character classes and the characters I'd play. Like, I had full up dress up outfits for certain classes. Like, I would have a cowboy looking guy for a gunslinger, or I had another one that was dressed up for, like, a scarecrow for the firebug. And not being able to do like any character I feel like doing based on how I feel on any given day with the perk I want is silly. But it sounds like they're going to fix that. And good for them for having the wherewithal to be like, there's enough people saying this isn't what they want.
I remember the days of external beta testing, which they don't do anymore. They just have QA now. And the problem with beta testing was those people would find things that were wrong with your game. And then you'd have to fix it. Instead, now they don't bother. They just fix it in day one patch, which sucks. I mean, when you have external beta testers, they're not going to say everything's okay. No, they're going to tell you what's wrong. They're going to tell you what doesn't work. And, you know, you can easily dismiss it if you want. I mean, sometimes people will come up with stuff like, I don't like the way this thing looks. Well, sorry, but that's what we're going with. You know, but sometimes, you know, these people will find bugs that you didn't know existed. You know? So I appreciate external beta testing. And, you know, it's better to release a game that everybody likes, especially if it's going to be an online multiplayer game. Because we all saw what happened to Concord. You know, I think they might be scared, oh, we don't want to be the next Concord. Although Concord is a new IP. This is not a new IP, but still the same danger is there. You know, it's like people are hyper cautious now about releasing multiplayer games or live service games, stuff like that, because you really want to lock that audience in. You really want to give them what they want, or else they're not going to come back because there's too many things that are out there. I mean, even if they're diehard fans of Killing Floor 3, they may say, whatever.
Yeah, I hope they get it right. Like, I love this series. I love Killing Floor. There's nothing quite like it. So I hope I appreciate their wherewithal to be able to say we're not where we want to be with this. This is not what our fans are wanting. Let's hold off a bit and figure this out.
Next item and last item: next gen Xbox reportedly coming in 2027. Handheld rumored for this year from True Achievements. Now we did touch on this last week, but this is getting a little bit more into it. According to a new report, Xbox's next-generation consoles are reportedly planned for 2027, but we could see an Xbox-branded third-party handheld arrive this year. With so many Xbox exclusives heading to other platforms, fans have questioned of Microsoft if they're going to stick with the Xbox dedicated hardware, but it seems the company is all in. In a new report from Windows Central's Jez Corden, Microsoft's hardware team is hard at work at a new slew of hardware options. A premium Xbox Series XS successor and an official Xbox handheld have reportedly been greenlit alongside, quote-unquote, several new controller options that have direct-to-cloud connectivity and could potentially arrive in 2027. Before then, Microsoft has apparently partnered with a third-party PC OEM for an Xbox-branded handheld, which can launch later this year. The next generation of Xbox consoles, very little is known, but he says they'll support backwards compatibility. This is expected as Xbox President Sarah Bond revealed that she had put together a team to focus on game preservation. And thank God for that. Because I'm going to tell you something. I hate it. And we already, you know, like, you really enjoy a game and all of a sudden it vanishes and there's no way to get it again. See droplets, you know. So, yeah. I'm glad they're going with backwards. I hope they do perfect backwards compatibility in which every single first-party I think it already is backwards compatible. I don't know. I just want to see more backwards compatibility games, right? Even if you have remasters, they're not the original game. The closer link to PC could also... they also said it's going to be closer to Windows more than ever. That it means that there might be storefronts like Steam and good old games that could be available on the consoles too. Now, imagine... that'll blow your mind. Steam and good old games suddenly selling Xbox games.
That's pretty crazy.
Yeah, so we're going to rewind right now. Okay, Scott, let's talk about Threads of Time and what excites you about it.
Okay. I remember seeing the trailer at TGS, and this trailer has an additional character revealed in it. Right. I think it was Razzo, the mouse sky pirate king. And the game looks really gorgeous. I think it has that 2D HD style going for it.
It reminds me of Sea of Stars a little bit.
Yeah, and it has the different eras that were used in Chrono Trigger, but they're done in they're done in a different way. Each time era has different things going on. The BC era has what looks to be like dinosaurs. It kind of reminds me of Dinotopia.
Yeah, but this game couldn't be wearing his Chrono Trigger fan hat any harder.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you
there are clocks all over the place.
You see three characters, I think, being controlled, so it looks like it's going to be a three-person. I mean, that's what it appears to be so far. What we've seen is like three-person party, turn-based. Just beautiful pixel work, beautiful animation.
And I know this is your shit. I mean, Sea of Stars, Aiden Chronicles, Sudoku, that sort of stuff. It seems like there's a lot of these kind of games coming out too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
yeah, there's Forges of Fey, there's Sacrifier, and
There's also
Seeds of
the
Nostalgia, and Altarian
there's also the
Shift. And
Final
it's
Fantasy HD Dragon Quest 2D 3D
all
as
right.
well.
Yep, there's that. I played that as well,
Yeah.
and it's eating well with RPGs like this.
Yeah. Getting back to the current article, as for the official Xbox handheld device, Gordon doesn't share any details, but Phil Spencer previously said that it's in the works. He also said it's years away, so a 2027 release would make sense. That doesn't mean there won't be a handheld to play this year, as they partnered with a PC company for an Xbox branded device. They'll have the Xbox Guide button, but it's going to work with PCs like the the Steam Deck and all that stuff, like Asus ROG Ally. It'll have Windows and a Microsoft Store and the Game Pass in it. So it's going to be one of those things that also, you can just play your Game Pass games on it. I think I see Xbox's tactics here. They want to be the everything device. They want to have everything. They want to have their fingers in everything. You just can't swing a dead cat without hitting it. Also, they're bragging about making the next console really, really powerful. And I said this last week. I think they're trying to make it so you can have 60 frames per second on Grand Theft Auto 6. I think that's their goal there.
Well, I think I agree with you that Xbox, it truly does feel like they're going to keep making consoles, but it truly does feel like they've given up on making that their priority when they have the infrastructure to be able to basically put a version of Xbox UI
everywhere.
On anywhere they want to, because essentially you turn the entire tech ecosystem into a portal for
Scott.
PC Game Pass or the Xbox app.
But it's just funny. I mean, can you imagine being able to play Steam and good old game? Just either play those games on your Xbox or the reverse, have the games sold there. Can you imagine if you're playing Steam and good old games on your Xbox? That's also a possibility.
Yeah.
So here's the thing. I don't know if you remember this, but back in 2003, Microsoft was very adamant that the original Xbox was not a PC. It was a console through and through, and they had to make sure people knew it was a console through and through. They're done with that. Now they're going to make their consoles more like mini PCs and blur the line more. Because they already have Windows, right? So why not? So the new Xbox handheld that's coming out this year, not the 2027 one, is a PC-oriented device. It's interesting.
It is.
I don't know where they're going with this, but that's interesting.
They I think with the Nintendo Switch 2 coming out, I think it finally did put pressure on them to move to the hand, because at this point we've had the Steam Deck, we've had the ROG, we've had different things. I think Logitech made one that was okay.
Yeah, Razer made one as well. Obviously.
Yeah, so everybody's been making these, but at the same time, also Steam, the Nintendo Switch is probably one of it is actually, it's not even probably, it is one of the most popular consoles, highest selling consoles ever created at this point. And I'm sure that to a certain degree, alongside the Xbox's desire to have Game Pass anywhere that you can have a good thing.
The thing is that Nintendo only has 27% of the market. Microsoft has 25 or 24, something like that. And I think the Switch, both the Xbox and the PlayStation are becoming more and more console PC-like. And I think Nintendo's aim may be to be less PC-like and more console-like. The only problem with that is that they're not doing a good job with online. And even if you're just a console, you really need a good online. And by the way, Japan may have a great Wi-Fi, it's not going to work in the United States, or they're very far apart. You can go to Japan, open up your 3DS, and you'd have 20 invites already in 2 seconds, right? That doesn't happen in the United States. I remember Yahtzee joked that he felt like a pedophile because he had to sneak towards schools to get those invites just because he couldn't find anywhere from the adults, so he might as well get them from the kids. I forgot what they're called. Street Pass? Street Pass,
Yeah,
right?
it was Street Pass.
Yeah, so, I mean, it's easy to get Street Pass in Japan, but it's very hard to do it in America.
I mean, I think less people play 3DS, but at the height, you could
No,
just
I'm talking
go.
about at the height when Street Pass was a thing.
Yeah, you didn't necessarily have to go to a school, but like there were. I remember going on vacation and going to a hotel and getting some invites or some Street Pass hits.
I remember one of the reasons why Paul was always loved to go to E3 was that if he went to E3 and he opened up his 3DS, he would get tons and tons of Street Pass invites. He was at E3. So, yeah, it's going to be very interesting. Like I said, by 2050, I'll be either dead or in a walker. And that's probably when you won't have physical consoles anymore. Everything will be cloud-based. That's the other thing, is that these consoles are going to be playing Game Pass games with the cloud, and it's going to be interesting there too. As a matter of fact, Microsoft has started doing non-Game Pass game. Although, okay, Balatro is now a Game Pass game, but before it wasn't. You're able to play Balatro on the cloud, and at some point you can have more and more third-party games on the cloud. It's interesting. It's interesting.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, like of all the game creator, like of all the gaming giants, Xbox alongside Microsoft has always had the potential to be like to do the most interesting stuff. And I think I think it will be cool if they can like realize that potential to a bit and turn this into like they really could just like seize the whole market if they just put the money there. But
their strength, they didn't really play to their strengths because they weren't going to play to their strengths, because the one thing they did not want to do was be viewed, oh, this is just a PC box, right? Now they no longer care about that. So we'll see. I mean, they say, well, we have the Azure cloud and we have Windows, and now we're just going to make it so that you can't swing a dead cat without seeing the Xbox symbol there. So it's going to be interesting. And, yeah. All I care about is my achievements, though. I just want my achievements. That's why I played games on Xbox, because I'll be able to add to my achievement total. I mean, Steam achievements? Who cares? Who cares? Anyways. Look for our show notes at gamingpodcast.net. Along with industry news and our gaming history articles. We enjoy your feedback, so leave us comments on our blog at gamingpodcast.net. Also, hit us up at facebook.com/gamingpodcast. You can find me on Blue Sky at Jonah Falcon.
You can find me at Johnny Chugs.
You can find me at Shard the Sage.
And hopefully we'll have a lot more news next week. See you later.
Happy gaming, everyone.
Have fun, be cool, play games, y'all.